The Hifiman Edition XV. Let's talk about it. The Hifiman Edition XV is a new planar headphone from Hifiman. It costs $400. This is a personal unit. I did have Hifiman reach out to me, and I will be reviewing the Hifiman Ananda Unveiled and the new Hifiman HE600 as well, and those will be coming in from them in a bit. I also have a cable on here that I'll be talking about briefly that is from Hi-Fi Go that is a sample. So I just wanted to disclose my biases before I get too into this review. This is a fairly hyped headphone. It's a very interesting release. I think it's a well done headphone, and I think it's a little bit unique in the market for a couple of reasons. I think the main thing that I really like about this headphone is that it has a unique characteristic that you don't normally find in planar headphones. And I'm going to try to dive a little bit deeper into that, but first let's start by looking at the build quality of this cable. Is the same cable used on Zeos's new JUZEAR Defiant, but it is branded and made for headphone use. You can swap this to USB-C, but I wouldn't recommend it for this headphone. It's a nice, easy to maintain, flat line cable, and there you go. As far as the stock cable, this is me actually unboxing it here, and it's like, this is a nice little cable. There's nothing too exciting about it. It feels like it lays flat. It does have a screw 6.3 termination on the end, and it does have visible right and left, but they're kind of hard to see because it is in black. Let's look at the headband now. The headband has one interesting thing. When I try to put it on my head, it kind of stops, and then it kind of have to slowly go down in a nice kind of gradual parachute fashion. It is durable. It is like a leather headband, which makes it really well built, and it just feels like magic on my head. I really like it. I don't have any problems with this headband. I feel like the durability of it is really strong, and part of the best part about it. It's actually 30 grams lighter than the other Hifiman headphones, and it's supposed to be lighter. It feels nice, and it's easy going on my head. I like the ear pads. I find them comfortable. They have kind of a leatherette on the outside, suede in the middle, and I feel like this is a durable, light, easy to wear headphone that doesn't have any major faults to it. Easy to swap with the cable, which is also a nice addition to this headphone. This is kind of what it looks like. It is an unboxing experience. It just really includes the headphone and the cable, and you can actually use the middle of this little middle portion here as a headphone stand if you so choose, which I don't know if you'd really want to, but you could. So how does this sound? I mean, the big thing about this headphone is that what most planar headphones are known for is having a very particular amount of 3 to 6 or 7K, and it really has a more smoother, relaxed presentation. It adds a little bit of a lush and kind of a nice sound quality to it. The build quality of this is a lot better. I feel like if you compare this to the older Hifiman Edition XS, this is like a solid 10. You feel like you can just kind of grab it with one hand and you don't have to be super delicate with it. It looks and feels nice. It feels durable in hand. It feels light. It feels comfortable. I like the pads, and I didn't like the stock edition XS pads and actually had to switch them out. I feel like the comfort on this is also a lot better, and it's just a better looking, better feeling headphone that is a reasonable cost without going too high. I feel like I really like the grills, and I feel like I can just really just hold them and not have to baby things and worry about my finger poking through anything. The treble on this all around is just a little bit less. It's a little bit less analytical, a little bit more warm, and has a rich tonality. Some people might call it full-bodied, maybe a little bit kind of sort of bassy, and we'll show you an EQ that you guys can throw on this guy if you want later. It has a really nice, tame sonic profile. I find it to be tonally correct, but it is a slight flavored tonality, kind of like chocolate milk versus regular milk. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's just kind of something to note. As far as the bass goes of it, I would kind of describe it as a bit loose and wild, energetic, and different from maybe what you're used to in Hifiman edition headphones in the past. You might not like it. It may not be as overly linear and clean, but sonically I find it really enjoyable and kind of unique. It feels full bodied. The mid range is really the star of this. It's articulate, detailed, but not overly so. Instrument separation is really good on this headphone, and the technicalities, the finer grained detail of the music is really well done. But at the same time, it kind of has this dynamic driver, kind of an organic, rich, almost like a tube like feel to it. Vocals on it are nice and well done, but then sometimes they can become a little bit off-putting and a little bit disconjointed and not as clear as you might want to. So it's not something that may not be for everybody. The treble I would describe as lush, well done. It's not boring, but it's not done to a very exceptional level. Cymbal hits and upper treble is clean and clear and has a nice amount of natural detail. It's this richness that I kind of spoke of earlier that's kind of affected here, and it's has a natural but not overwhelming amount of treble. And in fact, most music or things that I throw on this headphone, it handles extremely well and sounds really good. But it kind of reminds me a lot of, say, like the more expensive feel planars like the FT7 or the FT1 Pro, rather than like models like the Hifiman Edition XS, Aria, or other things like that. So it's kind of a little bit of a departure, and I would call it the least Hifiman style headphone that's out there. But all around, it's really a nice headphone, and I feel like for people that are new to the hobby and they're like looking for a headphone, like what's good for this, I think this would be a really good one to recommend because it has a reasonable price, really nice build quality. It looks and feels good. It's easy to cable swap, and these cables are the most readily had on the market. And this, it just has a lot of great things about it. Let's look at some songs, look at some graphs, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, so 3 songs I wanted to talk about with you guys real quick. Like the first, Ride With Me by Pit Millet. Like Ride With Me has a thickness to the female voice that spoils it slightly. It might make it come across slightly hazy, somewhat masculine, maybe a little bit rough, which is something that is a departure from what normally happens. I'm trying to use music to try to explain how things feel. And Luciano Pavardi's the best. He is a classical opera male singer, and the horns in this sound very rich and strong. Male vocals sound perfect and nice, so there's really no issues, at least in this song. Drum hits don't feel overly natural, but when you get to other stuff like Eric Clapton's Knocking on Heaven's Door, you get this feeling of almost like a hazy presence, almost like something that's off for a little bit. That rich lushness can kind of come across as unique sound. These are all very subtle, but there is an amount of subtlety and change to the sound, and that's kind of what I'm trying to talk about here when we use music to talk about things. All right, this is not my graphs, but I want to show you some other graphs to get an idea of maybe how this might sound and how things are affected. This is the Hifiman Edition X in blue and XS in like green. And you'll notice it does have a little bit more vocal presence at 3K, a lot more treble around 4 to 5K, a lot more upper treble around 5 to 6K. And it can be a little bit sibilant and kind of harsh, where like if you are treble sensitive to this upper region, like that's one of the regions that I'm sensitive to, the Edition XV is going to be a lot better for you, but you might miss some of the details. If you're looking for kind of like this majestic out-of-body experience, something like the XS might actually be a better bargain, as it's only like $240 now. But again, build and comfort are 10 times better on the XV, in my opinion. If you look at the same kind of things, if you look at Capra Audios, it's basically the same thing, a little bit more of this treble region, a little bit more upper air than you do on the XV. Same kind of thing if we look at size on Herd Graph, you'll just notice a ton more energy up here. It's almost like it has a low piano gain kind of value, which you might not get the ethereal, engaging vocals that you might want, but drum hits, instruments sound really nice, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a slight modification in how you might hear your music and hear sounds. I want to do some comparisons to other sets. Like I'm a huge fan of the Sennheiser HD 550 and I'm just using graphs to kind of show them. It's kind of a daily driver of mine. It has one wire. It's really easy. It's a little bit cheaper. The mids are a little bit more flat and linear, has a little bit more energy upper in the upper treble, and like you might like the sound presentation of the Sennheiser HD 550, although like there's certain elements of technical like elements like the instrument separation, the way that some of the, I don't know, some people call it twinklies and sparklies, almost like the tiny finer detail in the XS are going to sound a little bit better. But both of these headphones, if you look at them, they're both very, very neutral and very nice. So you could go either way. And the 550 is a really nice open back. I think it's about, you know, almost 300 depending. Another headphone I really like is the Sennheiser HD 620. And this is a nice close back. If you need a close back for mixing and you can't really deal with, you know, I have my children play games and they're very loud. And so this is something where I can actually wear this and have a little bit of isolation and not have to use inner ear monitors. And so it's a nice headphone if you're looking at it. But like the detail, again, the detail and the separation on the XV aren't as good. The bass, it's a little bit wonky on the H20. Like I would recommend EQ, and we'll show you that here in a minute. But it is a nice headphone that has unique qualities, and it's hard to find good closebacks. And if that's something you're looking at, that's something that's pretty competitive, I think, in the market to look at and think about. If you look at the Sundara, and like again, you'll notice just the Sundara has just a little bit more of that upper treble. Again, if you're really a fan of that upper treble, the XV is not going to be for you. Again, maybe the Ananda Unveiled, or maybe maybe the HE 600 might be a better bargain for you if you're kind of a veteran audiophile who really likes that upper treble. I feel this kind of has like a studio, almost gamer presence, but it does lack a little bit of majesticness, but it also doesn't have any treble fatigue, which is a really nice quality to have. This is the EQ that I would kind of recommend to you guys. Just adds a little bit of bass. I'm going to go ahead and show that to you now so you can see that. But it basically just adds 2 filters and just adds a little bit of a bass boost. And I think it really helps kind of make this headphone shine. I'm used to having a lot of sub bass and a little bit of mid bass in my headphones and IEMs. And it's a nice thing to be able to do that and mess around with EQ. But that's pretty much the only thing I would do with this. With the XS, I would have to EQ a little bit of the upper treble, add a little bit extra like 2K, but the dip in 2K or at 1K in this region right here, it doesn't really bother me in the XV, and I really find it a really remarkable, nice sounding, clean, relaxing headphone. All right, so I do have a minor headphone ranking list. I rank them differently based on value, and so we look at different things like preference and value, and then technical ability and tuning. As far as the XV, how does it do? I mean, it has a nice tuning that I really enjoy. It has a nice technicality, but nothing too exorbitant or too exciting. The timbre and the nice sound of this headphone is really quite enjoyable, and I would recommend people to try it. It is slightly on the expensive side, and with my time in the hobby, you know, Hifiman headphones will go on sale probably next year. You could probably find this for $100 less, and in 3 years, you'll probably see this for, you know, 200 or something. And I do like the sonic quality of this headphone, but it's not perfect to me. It does a lot well. You can find this just on the bottom. If you look here, this is where my IM lists are, and I have a few things there. And you can just look at headphones and kind of see where some of the headphones that I would personally recommend, kind of based on a price performance ratio here. So the Hifiman Edition XV presents, I think, great value, a great build quality. And I feel like it's nice to see that Hifiman's really listening and giving people a different sound signature that I think really works. If you're interested in this headphone, I would highly encourage you guys to give it a go. Maybe try it at a show. It will be available on Amazon and other retailers with a good return policies. So I would recommend maybe to look into those. But this is mainly just to kind of show you guys my opinions on this and talk a little bit about the cable that I got from Hi-Fi Go and all that stuff. Hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!
You're mid, you're mid, you're mid, you're legendary. You're mid. Jaytis out.